30 Days to Prosperity, Episode 272, How to Profitably Scale a Food Business Successfully. If you're an emerging CPG founder, you're probably feeling it right now. The rising cost of doing business, the pressure to scale faster than your infrastructure is ready for, and the nagging fear that one wrong move could shorten your runway. Most of the advice you've heard, just raise more money, spend more to grow more, play the promo game, it's not only outdated, but it's dangerous in this economy. Here's the part no one says out loud. The path most founders are following is built on the assumption that it was never designed for small, mission-driven missions. And when the rules don't serve you better, you need a different rulebook. That's why this series exists. Because profitably scaling is not about outspending the competition. It's about out-strategizing them. And you can do that today with the resources you already have. Let me take you behind the curtain for a moment. Before I went dormant a few years ago, I launched the original 30 Day to Prosperity Challenge as a way to give founders foundational skills that big brands pay a lot of money for, that they train their teams with. That series became the seed of something much bigger, a masterclass to help you extend your runway, strengthen your retail partnerships, and to convert occasional shoppers into loyal evangelists. That work helped hundreds of brands, but the landscape has changed, and you deserve an updated roadmap built for today's challenges and opportunities. So today, we're relaunching a completely revitalized 30-day experience, updated, expanded, and grounded in the realities brands face right now. And we're starting with the core question every founder asks sooner or later. How do I scale profitably without losing control? Let me explain. Scaling isn't about adding distribution. It's about building the systems, discipline, message, and retail execution that allows growth to stick. Otherwise, every new door becomes a liability instead of an asset. You felt that tension when adding accounts doesn't translate to cash flow, or when you're spending more to support velocity than you're earning back. I've sat in this seat as a founder, as a CEO, and as the person accountable for the P&L performance at national scale. I've also sat across the table from retailers, the buyer who needs your brand to deliver category growth, not just take up space on the shelf. That dual perspective is why this masterclass exists and why today's episode is foundational. The founder story, what I learned the hard way. Years ago, when I co-founded a brand, I believed scaling was simply about getting more retailers to say yes. We were mission-driven, disciplined, and we had a product-market fit. But what we didn't have was the systems to support sustained growth. We chased distribution before we had clarity on our pricing architecture, our retail execution discipline, or a data story. And here's what happened. Every time we added a new account, the margins tightened. Every promotion required more capital than we expected. Forecasting became guesswork. And suddenly, scaling felt like running on ice. Lots of movement, not a lot of traction. The painful lesson shaped everything I teach today. It's the same insight I covered in episode 270, when I talk about operational discipline as a hidden engine behind your scale. In episode 271, when I walk through the fundamentals of trade marketing, your growth engine. Profitability depends on the decisions you make long before your product hits the shelf, and retailers feel it too. Which brings us to the first lesson in this new series. Lesson 1. Scaling successfully requires a new lens on growth. Consider this. If distribution alone created profitable scale, every brand with national placement would be thriving. But that's not what we see in the data. Bigger brands grow because they have a clear roadmap, system strategies, and a well-trained team. You deserve access to the same advantages. Here's why this matters. When you understand how a retailer measures success, how category roles shape decisions, and how your brand contributes to their overall market basket, you take the guesswork out of growth. Suddenly, you're not just pitching products, you're delivering value in a language that retailers use to manage the category. This is the opportunity. And this is at the heart of the 30 Days to Prosperity. Every lesson in this series is designed to give you one quick win, one foundational capability that you can implement immediately. Stack those capabilities for 30 days, and you'll have a fully functional roadmap for profitable, sustainable scale. Lesson number 2. You need a better strategy than do more. Most founders think they need more money, more promotions, more brokers, more distribution. But more can actually shrink your runway. Let me explain. The biggest brands don't win because they're everywhere. They win because they know exactly what levers to pull and when. They manage their trade spend with precision. They understand velocity drivers. They know how to partner with retailers instead of to react to them. And here's the secret. Big brands don't execute as well as you think. Their Achilles heel is poor retail implementation and bloated systems that prevent them from being nimble. That means your real competitive advantage is not size, it's agility. It's your ability to execute with excellence. It's your ability to build deeper relationships with your core shoppers and your retail partners. This series helps you turn that advantage into momentum. Lesson number 3. Your brand needs a yearly checkup, starting today. Think of this masterclass as your annual physical. We're going to evaluate your pricing architecture, your trade spend discipline, your retail execution strategy, your data story, your velocity drivers, your distribution readiness, and how all those pieces come together, how they work together. Because scaling a food business profitably isn't about any single tactic, it's about alignment. You need every part of your business to be rowing in the same direction. Now back to the retailer's perspective. A retailer is betting on you. They expect you to drive category growth, simplify their business, and bring loyal shoppers through the doors. Most brands unknowingly create friction instead of value. Throughout this series, you'll learn how to remove that friction to become the brand retailers love to support. What you'll get over the next 30 days. Over the next 30 episodes, you'll get one quick win strategy per day, a deeper understanding how scaling actually works, clarification around the myths that drain your cash flow, retail-ready insights that you can apply immediately, tools to stretch your resources and extend your runway, a roadmap for converting occasional shoppers into evangelists. This is not just surface-level advice. This is the same advanced strategy training brands invest heavily in, translated and adapted into a system that serves emerging brands without compromising your mission, values, or authenticity. Think of this podcast as your natural products accelerator, and it's free. In closing, your first steps toward profitable scale starts today. Here's what I want you to remember from today's episode. Scaling without strategy shortens your runway. Profitable scale requires clarity, discipline, and category growth mindset. You deserve the same strategic advantages big brands pay for. This series will give you that edge. Every quick win builds a foundation for the next. You can do this. You now have a roadmap, a guide, a system that has helped brands go from pre-revenue to multi-billion dollars in sales. The industry needs your innovation, your voice, and your mission-driven leadership, and you deserve an equal seat at the table. Tomorrow we'll dive into the first pillar of profitable scale, understanding what retailers really want, and how to align your brand strategy with their goals. This one shift will change everything. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Share this masterclass with any founder who needs a competitive edge. And don't forget to download the free guide that accompanies this episode. It's full of examples, checklists, and tools that will accelerate your progress. We rise by helping each other, and together we're going to build brands that last. For additional inspiration, listen to the following podcast episodes. Episode 87, Build Your Brand with these sturdy foundation essentials. Peter Burns with One Brands, Justin's and Haynes Celestial. Learn how to build your brand with a sturdy foundation through discipline and commitment to excellence for lasting success. Peter discusses the importance of old school strategies for brand growth, emphasizing the significance of distribution, shelf management, planograms, pricing, and promotion. He highlights the value of in-store and customer engagement, building strong relationships with retailers, and focusing on core products for brand success. Next, listen to episode 100, Sage Brand Building Advice from Industry Leaders. Gary Hirschberg, Seth Goldman, Michael Schinner, Kyle Gardner, Cheryl Lachlan, and Chuck Muth. Gain motivation and focus with Sage Brand Building Advice. The podcast celebrated its 100th episode with industry thought leaders sharing advice for their younger selves. Get a masterclass on avoid the common pains and growing pains and learn how to become an iconic industry-leading brand today. Learn what these experts would tell their younger selves about building their brand. And then listen to episode 32, The Supermarket Guru, Insights for Retailers with Phil Limpert. Discover how the Supermarket Guru helps brands understand market changes and trends to get their products on store shelves. Small, natural brands can succeed in mainstream retail by building a consumer following and showcasing success through social media and direct-to-consumer sales. Brands should focus on driving traffic, understanding consumer demographics, and communicating their value to retailers. Tip of the day, commit to continually learning and growing. Don't allow life's distractions to derail you or to keep you from achieving your goals, your purpose. Thank you for listening. This episode has accompanying video with illustrations and additional information that I can't share in an audio podcast. You can watch it at retailsolve.com/30-day challenge. You can get the show notes for this episode by going to retailsolve.com/session 272. Tomorrow's episode is how to launch and scale a profitable food business step by step. This episode will build on today's conversation. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.